I hope everyone can see my screen. So I am here today with my colleague Michelle Braley from the University of Alberta, and we are representing the Open Education Alberta Working Group, which is comprised of librarians and educational developers from across the province. Just to give you a bit of information about Open Education Alberta, which is a Pressbooks infrastructure that's available for all post-secondary institutions throughout Alberta. So about us and about our group and our initiative, this has really been a grassroots initiative to provide OER infrastructure in Alberta. It grew out of a small group of people who thought, wouldn't it be great if we didn't have to reinvent the wheel at every institution and develop some infrastructure that everyone can use. So what we decided to focus on was Pressbooks. So most of you are probably familiar with Pressbooks. It's built on top of the WordPress platform, and it allows folks to create new or adapt existing textbooks and other OERs and make them available widely. And because the University of Alberta Libraries has generously hosted the service, we have a commitment to long-term preservation and wide discoverability. And the way the service works is that the software is hosted by UAL, but there are representatives from all participating institutions that help coordinate projects at their local institutions. So this kind of helps us adapt workflows and agreements to fit local institutional contexts. So in order to request an account, if you're an instructor or a staff member at Alberta Post-Secondary, all you need to do is find out who your local rep is, and you can find that information on the website or just send an email and we can connect you with the correct person. And local reps are available to provide consultation and support. So we can provide things like, basic Pressbooks training, some instruction and support around licensing, Creative Commons, that sort of thing, and just help you get started, whether you're creating something new or you're adapting an existing item. So I will turn it over to Michelle to talk a little bit about some of the projects that have already been established using this infrastructure.
So I'm going to show you a few examples of some of the projects that we have going through the Pressbooks program, some of the completed projects, to give you some ideas of some things that you can do. So the first thing you can do is create a textbook from scratch, which is what these authors did. And the screenshots that we chose to include here were examples from this textbook where they created interactive materials for the book. So you'll see here they have some fill in the blanks, some drag and drop exercises, audio recording. These examples are using a plugin called H5P, which is something that we have added to the Pressbooks program. The other thing that this book did quite a bit that I neglected to include in the slide here was they embedded a lot of videos. So it's very, very easy with Pressbooks as well to embed media content like videos from particularly if they're hosted in another service, like even like YouTube or something like that. It works very well to have those included there. So example of creating a book from scratch. This one also created from scratch, but it's a lab manual. And so what you're seeing here on the slide on the left, these are actually laboratory slides of blood samples that they had digitized. And then they embedded the images into the Pressbook. So I'm showing the image embedding and how they were able to lay that out here. The other interesting thing about this project is because they were using the laboratory slides that were digitized, they have them uploaded to the institutional repository as well as included in their books. And the DOIs are connecting to both places, so just multiple layers of discoverability. And I'm a librarian, so that's exciting to me. And then on the right-hand side, what we wanted to show here is the formulas. So with Pressbooks, we have a plugin called Quick LaTeX, which allows you to write mathematical formulas if that's something that's important to your content. So the next option for you, if you don't want to create something from scratch, is that, I know it's hard to see here, but this is a clone of an existing resource. So Pressbooks has this great button if there's an existing Pressbook somewhere else that is an OER, you can pretty much just hit the clone button and it will upload it to your server. So you can see our logo, Open Education Alberta, in the corner, but this is actually Langara Chemistry Department resource. So I was able to easily clone this, and then you can log in and make any edits or additions to modify it for your course. The other thing that you can do here is if you have existing text documents, particularly Word documents or existing content elsewhere, we can upload it to Pressbooks. It's very good, particularly with Word documents. If you have the headers assigned, it will recognize it as chapters and parse it neatly into a book for you. And this final example is showing the platform being flexible for content creation. So this resource was actually co-designed with graduate students. But what made it possible here with Pressbooks is that you can have multiple accounts assigned to each book, and you can assign different levels of permissions for those accounts. So if you're working with editors or authors, you can assign different levels of permissions to make that work possible.